What's going on, everyone? So this entire preseason, D'Angelo Russell has looked A1. I mean, the dude looks like a guy that is on a mission to just shut up all the haters, quiet all the noise. He heard all the chirping all offseason. He got a bad rep, and in my opinion, I think that there's a lot of recency bias because of that Denver Nuggets series. And it wasn't solely on D'Angelo Russell. Like, nobody really showed up that series. We got outplayed mightily, just across the board. And, I mean, you don't get swept unless that actually happens. And, yes, would it have been nice to see DLo just dominate that series? Of course it would have been. He was dealing with an injury. It was a new team, and he just didn't have it. But people also just completely ignore and forget all of the things that DLo did throughout the course that got us to that Denver series. He single-handedly won us several games in throughout the course of the playoffs. And so DLo was massive. But regardless, he got embarrassed in a lot of ways in that Denver series and got exposed in a lot of ways in that Denver series. They were absolutely targeting him, going after him. Bruce Brown was just abusing him in a lot of ways. And you saw D'Angelo Russell kind of look like he got a little bit deflated in that Denver series. And so far in this preseason, you've seen DLo really lock in on both sides of the basketball. I mean, DLo's playing excellent defense. Like, seriously, he has been playing very good defensive basketball, and I love to see that. I love to see him trying to get after it, disrupt passing lanes. Like, he's not going to be Jared Vanderbilt defensively, but we just need him to be serviceable enough defensively. I mean, he's 6'5", he's got like a 6'10" wingspan. He has the tools to be an effective disruptor and just defender. But the first game of the season is against Denver, right? And that's a game where, it would be nice to see D'Angelo Russell really pick it up. D'Angelo Russell play the way we've seen him play in preseason and kind of dominate on the offensive end, get after it on the defensive end. And one of the things that I think is in his favor to an extent is the fact that Bruce Brown isn't on Denver. Not because I am worried that, Bruce Brown Bruce Brown will definitely be chirping if he was on Denver. He'd be trying to get in D'Lo's head and stuff like that. And it's not that I think D'Lo would completely disappear, but there is a part of me that would have the concern of, if Bruce Brown dominates that matchup again, does that affect D'Lo throughout the course of just the season, and if they end up having that playoff matchup? Well, now it's not really a question. You don't really have to worry about that, right? I mean, Jamal Murray, you can, like, if Jamal Murray is busting up D'Lo, right, like, you can kind of justify that, right? Because Jamal Murray is all-star caliber player, a guy that, is the number 2 guy on the Denver Nuggets, where Bruce Brown, he's kind of just emerged. I don't even know if he really emerged, but I mean, he was really good in that Lakers series. He was a guy off the bench, right? And it's like, it's almost more of a spotlight, right? If Bruce Brown is busting up D'Lo once again, where, like, look, if he might do it for Indiana, right? When the Lakers play Indiana, but again, like, I don't think that would have the same impact, because you're not seeing Indiana in the playoffs, especially, right? Indiana's not, the only way you would see them is in the NBA Finals, and Indiana isn't getting to the NBA Finals. So you don't have that concern of, like, what if they run into each other, and now he's kind of won the last few matchups, and he's really just in D'Lo's head. You see players and things like that kind of take its course on numerous occasions. But also, the other type of concern that I'd have is D'Lo trying to play too much, right? Like, overdoing it to try to prove a point. Like, even especially in, like, that first game, right? Like, okay, now I think he can kind of settle in a little more, play his game, do his thing. He's again, this preseason, he has been spectacular. He's been just sharing the ball, making excellent passes and plays. That pick and roll with him and Jackson Hayes, him and Anthony Davis has been absolute butter. He's knocking down the three ball at an efficient clip, picking up right where he was last offseason. He's getting to the basket. He also looks a lot more like fluid out there, which I love to see, right? Like DLo's always been more of like a James Harden as far as like the pace of his offense rather than like a Russell Westbrook as far as the pace of the offense. I'm not comparing them like, actual skill set or talent wise, more so of just the way that they play, right? Like DLo has always kind of been a little more methodical, a little slower in the way he operates and moves, where you're seeing kind of a different DLo this preseason. He's being more decisive. He's being more aggressive. No, his first step seems a lot quicker. He's pushing the pace a lot more. Like the Lakers' pace has been really good. He's done a great job just being the facilitator and running the offensive sets that we've seen the Lakers run. And I have a lot of high expectations for DLo, right? Look, I've defended DLo. DLo is an excellent player. Offensively, he's going to be huge and is going to be able to carry a lot of the load for the Lakers, which I think is very important, very significant, because you need that just offensive threat that can be consistent on a regular night. Look, the Lakers were undefeated when he scored 17 or more points. I'm not saying that like that's going to happen the entirety of the season, but it's a good sort of precursor of like, okay, when DLo plays well, the Lakers are going to be very good. And I think that is something of significance. I think that is something worth of note, that if D'Angelo Russell can lock in, stay focused, and be that consistent scoring threat, but also defend at least respectable level. I don't want to necessarily say high level, because I don't think he's going to be a high level defender, but I do think that he'll be good enough to where you can trust him and leave him on the court. Obviously, certain matchups might be bad for him. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to stay in front of like a Ja Morant or something like that, but I think on most nights he'll be able to kind of hold his own on the defensive side of the basketball. And I mean, look, it's a long season, so there's the ups and flows, right? He's going to have games where, he's looks like he's unstoppable offensively and goes and gives you 30. And then there'll be other nights where, he's a little maybe lackluster on the offensive side. It happens, right? Everyone has their ups and downs when you're looking at it that way. But I have a lot of faith in DLo. I have a lot of belief in DLo, and I think that he's going to be a very big factor. And I do think that Bruce Brown not being on Denver is good for him and the Lakers, right? Again, even if he was, it might not. Maybe it doesn't turn into anything, and we'll never really know now. But it was just kind of a thought that was in my head where I was like, I'm kind of glad Bruce Brown isn't on Denver. One, I think it hurts Denver a lot. I think people are undervaluing like what Bruce Brown did for that Denver team last year. But also I just think it's good for, just DLo's confidence and his mental. Bruce Brown really seemed to have his number and really targeting him and was just talking that talk and backing it up. Like, that's the thing. Like, he wasn't just talking. Like, he was talking and backing it up in the same way. So, but anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think, like, yeah, it's a good thing that Bruce Brown isn't there, so that way DLo can kind of just play basketball and not listen to all the noise, listen to all the chirping? Do you think, like, no, it wouldn't really matter regardless, right? Like, DLo's going to play the way he's going to play whoever's in front of him. Do you think that there would be that concern, right? Like, if Bruce Brown, if he was on the team and was having a field day with DLo once again, do you think that could potentially impact DLo's play over the course of the season, and especially the match? It's more so because you're only going to see Denver so many times in the regular season, right? You're only going to see him 4 times, but it's more so the playoffs, right? Especially if like each game Bruce Brown is just like busting them up, and then now it's like, now we got to face them in the conference finals again, or play them in the second round or something like that, and it's like, all right, here we go, right? And it just completely takes DLo out of his game. That's where I would be a bit concerned personally. But, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.